company, the name of the company.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. All right, and here we are for Broker Than You with the king of real estate from Erie, Pennsylvania himself, Laban Marsh. Laban, great to see you.
You can't really see the biceps flexing.
It doesn't matter. Everyone comments on the facial hair.
Oh yeah, we're going with it now. We got some Santa coming, so
you have different facial hair every show. It's amazing. People monitor your facial hair. And James Whitfield, Luther James Insurance. James, great to see you.
I shaved for the occasion.
Yeah. So we had a couple questions over the last 2 weeks, and I don't know if you guys can answer them, but some private equity firms have been buying into college. I
saw that.
Athletics. Okay.
Buying
college
into what?
Sports.
Sorry.
College sports, college athletics, college football. It happened at, I believe, at the University of Utah, and it's happened at a couple other places. And, they think this is going to be dangerous because they obviously want a return on their investment. They put kind of parameters in place where they're not going to have a say in television contracts, players, how much they pay players, scheduling, anything like that. But they are going to get a portion of the revenue from it. And, these colleges are getting an infusion of cash, like someone like Utah, who isn't receiving a ton of money from their conference, a ton of NIL money from their collectives. They needed a cash infusion from a private equity firm. So people have asked, what exactly is a private equity firm, what it means that they're investing into college sports, and are we going to see more of it? Because they have invested in pro sports. The Raiders took on a private equity firm. So people are kind of confused as to what it means. And if it's going to negatively affect the sport. So if you have any input on that, we would appreciate it.
I mean, affecting the sport I don't see how it wouldn't benefit. I mean, you think it's going to tarnish the athlete or the sport as far as,
Well,
it's
because
just more
because they're going to have, they're going to have
an
make
influence.
revenue off of it, and then obviously, they're looking to sell it at some point. They're going to sell their share. Yeah.
Well,
Seems
and
to
I
me
think
the best
that
business to get into is college.
yeah,
Let's go
but
buy some
listen,
colleges.
but no, and not even well, and I think you even are starting to see NIL at the high school level. But I
You
think
are.
for businesses, private equity firm is a business. I mean, like that's people are in business to make money, and so how do you turn that, right? And I think that's where sports is one of the most profitable businesses you can get into. People will pay
Absolutely.
whatever you ask.
They
So
do.
I think like I'm looking at NIL at high school with high school age kids ourselves and marketing opportunities with Marsh & Marsh Real Estate Services. Like I'm about to churn out these Marsh boys and girls, the Hoopers. And I've said this before, like some of these high schools need private funding from small businesses. I mean, it's very similar to that. Now, I think, again, where they want in and a piece of the pie because they see what these universities, to your point, James, have been making for all these years. But we also know, like at UConn, football generally brings in the most revenue, but basketball at UConn is huge. But then what are the expenses? What are the other sports that, like my wife played field hockey? It's not a revenue generator.
The non-revenue sports. Yeah.
So how much, I guess, and that's where the private equity, I mean, they should be investing in these universities. You're saying it's not through the NIL or it is?
It's not through the NIL. They're investing they're creating like
in the
Utah
sports program.
Yeah, they created a separate business like Utah Athletic
Like
Firm,
foundations. It's a foundation.
something like that. And they invested into that, and that money is going directly to the Utah Athletics, the entire athletic department.
Yeah, I think, like, what are you selling
it was like
for?
20 million or 40 million, something like that they put in.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's always been naming rights or, seat licenses. That's what's happening up in Buffalo right now. Like, they're building the Bills are building that new stadium, and
Looks
part
good
of
too.
the, why I still don't understand why it's outdoors. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's like the season ticket holders, not only is the price doubling, but now there's a seat license like they have at the Steelers and Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's just, call it another tax. It's another revenue source. So, I mean, for private equity to get into it, I mean, like we have a ton of local businesses in Erie that are partially owned by private equity. Not that they're fine, like they literally own part of the business. And we've talked about that before, whether it's micro shares, something like that. But I think, again, depending on when you have private equity investing in something, it's probably not a bad idea to follow that lead to a certain extent. Now, is it tainted, or like how does it tarnish sports? I guess that's where I don't see how it would, outside of the influence, and what kind of influence is it having negatively. It sounds like it's just more opportunity to get these kids some money. I don't know. And I think that's where a lot of people would invest in universities with the hopes that they can at some point acquire that individual or individuals from that school for their organization. I mean, that's a lot of what is so good about the university. Like one of our pole vaulters from McDowell vaulted at Duke, and one of his professors had a business that he hired him for as an intern. And then he started working for him right out of school. Like that's what the institutions should be utilized for. And the sports programs also should be connecting these athletes with future opportunities. So, I mean, again, and depending on how deep in the weeds you get with the private equity firms, it's just somebody that collects a bunch of money from people and invests it in ways that other people can't. Either because
that's what a private equity firm is.
A private equity firm would be, people that invest in the things that private equity firm invests in, right? Whether it's real estate, whether it's commodities. A private equity firm, I don't know the true definition, but it's a lot of private money invested into specific arenas. And it sounds like they're focusing, like you're saying, they're creating new entities, sports specific.
Yes.
Because that's where we kind of joke around with my number of entities, but they all serve a specific purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I guess are you hearing that? What are the concerns that you've heard out there?
The Big Ten had an opportunity to have several private equity firms invest in, I guess
I'll be right
the
back.
conference, and they voted it down. It got voted down by several universities. Didn't want anything to do with it, so they did not take it on. They said, anyone from the Big Ten cannot take money from a private equity firm. A school like Utah, they're not getting donors who are going to invest millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars year in and year out. So they took the $20 million, and it's going to be good short term and probably last a few years. But their concern is, what are we giving up for this? They're worried about giving up control to the private equity firm. They're worried about giving up recruiting to the private equity firm, letting them having a say in what kids come in, what kids transfer in, fight about television deals.
See, and I guess I look at that like, I think private equity firms are going to tighten it down, like get these people under contract, do it kind of a more legitimate business sense versus the wild, wild west. Like the reason Big Ten then doesn't want to let their schools invest in private equity is that they know private equity is going to run it much more efficiently, exactly, and have some more defined details and some of the murky questions that I think are right now lingering, like who really is making all the money to either pay the kids or whatever else. And if you think they're not peeling off the top, that would be so. I don't know. And again, I don't want to speculate on it, but I see private equity getting in there and like creating due to contract some loyalty to these kids and or coaches. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's so many overlapping things. Like if a private equity invests in an entire conference, the mandated rules or, whatever else that they would, but it's similar. You can get onto a board or investor without any, rights to say how it operates. So I don't know. I'd be interested to hear more
in the contract. Yeah.
Right.
If you look it up, they did put it in the contract, what they can be involved in and what they can't, because that was the main fear. But, for a majority of the schools, especially the non-power conference schools, they're not getting that money, that infusion of cash. So a school like Utah, they need it. I mean, and even if it's short term and they sell their shares within 10 years, which is what their fear is. They're looking to make a profit, and then they're looking to get out. And then they're, obviously another firm will probably buy in.
Well, I guess that's the thing right there. Like they have to manage it well, though, in order to sell it. Like anything else. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of times, even with like when we did the Kyle Milliken memorial run and did the fundraiser, like if you utilize the funds that you've raised and you reinvest them, whether it's with private equity or some, vehicle, like that scholarship now carries itself on without any more, further donation. Funding. It's self-funded, you know what I mean? So I think in that regard, like these private equity companies know how to do that, know how to get it rolling, and then they take on the risk if it won't sell down the road. But again, they usually know how to package these opportunities in a way that you also think about, like, what is the benefit of, supporting either NIL or sponsoring marketing? It's so that my business is attached to how you guys play football or like that's where I think what gets lost a lot of times is these kids don't realize where this money's coming from, and the donors not that they need recognition, but if it's a business that they want it as a marketing opportunity, like you look at the WNBA and how corporations have been on their jerseys, soccer in Europe,
everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of thing that college football, again, doesn't want to give up. But at some point, I guarantee you, UConn is going to have, and it's probably, unfortunate, it's probably a hospital that somehow can make that large of a donation to be, we see it all over Erie as LECOM, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. But listen, I talked to the track coach at Mercer's University, which is now Division I, and they own some land in the city where it's like, hey, listen, go to LECOM. Tell them we want to build an indoor track facility within the city limits that will serve the Erie community as a whole. You can put your name on it, and now you have a community asset. But the only way you could do that is with a partnership like a LECOM, like a big corporation, a big business, a private equity firm. I mean, whatever it is. And I think that's where what gets lost is, where's this money coming from? And then what do they want in return for that investment? And again, I think most businesses need some form of recognition or partnership to say, like Matt Newsy, who's up there and like they're UConn's recommended brokerage. That's outstanding. So I think the more you can have yourself aligned with the types of things, and that's what marketing and branding is all about. But yeah, I mean it's interesting, but I do want to dig deeper into the high school NIL and see both tax ramifications, things like that. Like, are kids just 1099 when they get NIL money? And at what age? Like, do they have to be 18? Like, I know kids can work at the age of 14 or something, limited hours, whatever else. But and I'm curious, like, James, you know how you can not only invest, but you can invest so much in a kid without tax ramifications or whatever else. Like, I would assume there's got to be, whether there's a cap on NIL or that's something I would be interested in.
There isn't a cap. James,
what
are your thoughts on this, the private equity firms investing into college athletics? And is it going to be beneficial?
I think it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more like you got to give something to get something. And then the thing is, what are you getting and what do I have to give up to get it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my take. I mean, you can look on the great side of it. Yeah, you're going to have state-of-the-art facilities and great programs and stuff, which is good. But is there a price? And if so, how much is it?
Right.
That's my take.
And Laban, there are colleges that are now paying high school athletes NIL money to come to their school. So they've started a couple states have allowed colleges to pay NIL money to players who are going to be attending the university. Yeah,
I think they should.
So I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to, but do you think these colleges are doing it like, hey, we want you to come here, or hey, here's the check, you're signing? Like, what obligation does that have?
You're signing here. Yes. I mean, they're paying it for kids who are signing here. Yes.
But again, like, even after that, how many kids have we heard took the bag and never showed up to work? I mean,
it just happened. If you saw in Georgia, the University of Georgia is suing a player because he agreed to a $500,000 NIL deal. He signed. He was there for a month, entered into the transfer portal.
Oh,
dude.
Left.
That's
Georgia,
where
Georgia didn't pay him, but they're still suing him because it was in the contract, basically saying if you leave, you're going to be sued.
Yeah. Do you think private equity firms have good attorneys?
I do. I'm sure they do.
That's what these kids are going to be up against, right? I think that's where there's so much more depth to this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a college, paying a high school kid through their NIL money when they're committed there. But I guess that's where I love to look at an NIL deal and look at a contract and see what obligation they have. If they get into the portal, do they pay any of that money back? Is it like in the NFL where your signing bonus is the only thing guaranteed? And I guess I'm sure every agreement could be different. Is there a standard NIL agreement across NCAA or high school?
No, I mean, there really isn't. James, you can pull up that presentation if you want to show it. More than welcome to.
So as an example, like if a college athlete had a $100,000 bag from their season,
it happened.
They want to call James, say, what do I do with this bag of money? I don't want to buy a
it happened at Tennessee. The quarterback that ended up quitting he quit the team last year before the spring game because he wanted $4 million instead of $2 million that he was getting, but he was getting paid in high school. He was one of the first players to get paid NIL money during high school, and he quit and transferred before the season, but he was getting NIL money through high school. But this is an example of what James put together for a 26-year-old who had some money to spend, and it's an incredible program.
This process is called infinite banking.
Yeah.
This person, he's 26 years old. He owns a trucking company, and he wanted to go in for more funding, but what he also wanted to do is show his net worth. So what he did was he had $100,000 to invest. So what I did was I split that $100,000 into two payments. So he deposited $50,000. You don't make a lot of money in the first year, so this is the cost of insurance. So his $50,000 is down to $37,000, but his death benefit in the very beginning is $4,796. I'm sorry, $4,796,571. The following year, he deposited another $50,000, and his cash value now is $76,579. His death benefit is going up each year, but he's not in it for the death benefit. It's something where it's just in case something happens to him. This particular policy, you're in here to make money. So after this second year, we borrowed from the 76,000, we borrowed 50, and we put it back in the policy like a week or two afterwards. Now he has a cash value of $118,000. This is called compounded interest. He's making 6.5% interest on his money every year on the S&P 500. Now we repeat the process, but this time we put in more money because now he has $150,000 roughly. I'm sorry, he has a little more than 120, but because he had cash from these 2 years plus this, we're able to take out $150,000, put it back in the policy, and grow it. So we're going to do that $150,000 for 1, 2, 3 years. At 31, he right now has almost $600,000. Now from this 579, we're going to borrow $250,000, do the same process over and over again. So he'll make his first $1 million at 33, because this is the cash value. He'll make his first $1 million at age 33, but this is actually a 20-year process of building your money, because you want to be able for this to now work on its own at some point in time. So now, because he's got like 852,000 in here, we're able to do 250,000 to perpetuity. Look how this grows. He stops paying this policy at the age of 45.
Right.
Now at 45, he has 6.6,619,603.
Now, if he never touched this ever again until he's at retirement age, so let's say retirement age would be 60, 65. At 65, he has $22,526,918, and all of this
not putting anything into it.
You're not putting anything into it because it keeps flipping each year. So this goes on till perpetuity, and if he's smart, he put this into a trust where this keeps growing because he started so young. Now, at 75, where most people are passing away, his estate, he has $78 million in there. Tax-free.
That's incredible.
This is the biggest party you'd ever have. This is tax-free. This is tax-free.
That's where you got to start early and stay disciplined.
And he only started with $100,000.
Well, and I think that's where we throw around only $100,000. Like, for a lot of people, especially coming out of college, I think about these, like, especially right now, coming out of college, and, wages might be improving, but costs are so high that, it's hard for somebody that doesn't already own a home. And obviously this guy's doing well, working hard and positioning themselves to start doing that. Or if they do come into money, inheritance, whatever else, like, even if it's not 50,000, if it's 20,000, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, to your point earlier, the problem is the people that invest 10,000 a year and expect these numbers.
Yes.
Right. It's like, if you're going to do 100,000, and again, for a lot of people, it's like, where would I ever come up with 100,000? It's like, well, you got to start somewhere, but if you can't invest 1,000, you'll never invest 10,000. You'll certainly never invest 100,000. So it's okay to start small, but I think the biggest point is you have to start. You have to start. Yeah. And most people in finance will tell you, hey, you got to save 10% for yourself every time you get a paycheck, whatever else. And I think that's where I always wanted to become a reverse tither, which is what Rick Warren calls, most people tithe 10%. He's in a position where he lives on 10% and tithes 90%. And that's not just 90% to the church, but whatever. I mean, all like these different organizations that truly serve communities, and they are out there all over the place. That's where you can invest this money once you are sitting on, $72 million. And I think it's just like anything else. It's how are you going to leverage it and utilize it? You know what I mean? But I think we talked about that last time. Dave Ramsey, the two things your parents had but never talked about were sex and money.
Yeah.
So I think talking about money and how to invest it and how to and like we play that game Cash Flow 101 that Robert Kiyosaki.
For you. Yeah.
But listen, it's like whether you're a truck driver or a doctor, those are two different forms of income, but it doesn't matter how much you make, it's what you keep. And I think that's where you gotta stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and just know what you want. Because there seems to be this thing like, I got to make 100,000. It's like, there's a lot of people that make 50,000 and live a really good life. And if they're disciplined for long enough and they make that money extend for them, like you can do really well and position yourself to really give back and live a fruitful life. But it does. I still think one of the most important things is discipline. Money helps, but dude, money can be an issue too much or too little. And that is the truth. It's wild, even in the NFL. How do these guys blow that money? Who was it recently that said was it Odell Beckham? No. Who was it that said his $100 million isn't enough to live on?
There's a lot of guys that do that because they continue to live that lifestyle, and they don't understand it's not going to last forever.
Dude, that's my point exactly.
$10 million house. You don't need all that.
No, but why don't you buy $10 million worth of real estate that creates living for, like, I don't like veteran, like there's ways that you can get grant. I mean, Rashid does some of this. It's like, there's ways that you can provide housing profitably, but with serving the community and the less fortunate. Now, you might not be as profitable as if you went the private route, but there are ways, especially for NFL guys that have a name that they could go to a community and really serve, and they're going to be out here barking about $100 million isn't enough for them to live.
Well,
like, what are we doing here?
They complain about the taxes.
Oh, I complain about the taxes. I think taxation is theft. But at the same time, like, you have to understand how to leverage that money to make it work for you. And it's not rocket science, dude. That's what I'm saying. It's discipline. There's enough information out on the internet where people can learn this. I don't care if it's laundromats. Like, there are so many businesses, and I wasn't even thinking about Fresh. I miss Fresh. But like, there are so many businesses, whether they're passive or active investing, that you can grow that money, but it requires discipline, and position yourself with safety nets.
In all honesty, the policy that I just showed you guys, that's a great way to save money on taxes too, because the government can't touch that.
Right, exactly.
The government can't touch it. No wife can touch it. No girlfriend can touch it. You know, you can get married. And I just saw somebody got married, and now 6 months later, his girlfriend, his wife is trying to get $40 million out of him.
Oh, that's that country singer.
I think
it is.
That was but one is also a football player. I literally just saw it this morning.
Seriously?
I literally just saw it. Seriously,
Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter's wife did that. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah. Travis Hunter, dude. Yeah. She
put your money in life insurance. Everybody, trust and believe. Man. No one can touch it. Not even the government. I have a friend who's an IRS agent. And she does forensic audits all day. Cannot touch life insurance.
Laban, one of the questions that we got was, when you were starting out or going through your business, did you look to take on investors? Did you want investors in your business, or was it strictly just family?
No, it really was just family, and then the traditional financing, right? I think because I was a real estate salesperson, we had relationships with loan officers, and at the time there were pretty good loan programs, and favorable interest rates. When we first started, and I think we bought our first one in 2003 or 2004, rates were like 6.5. They were about where they're at right now. And so, but it made sense investment wise, for us to get started and buy a duplex and use traditional financing. It wasn't until, I think we were just talking about this, Buffalo Road is an 11 unit that after the recession, Meg's parents really took it on the chin, as many families did. And he had not been investing in real estate. And so we just said to him, this is in 2012, where we said, hey, listen, we've always gone the traditional route with financing in a typical bank. But if you would like to invest in this property with us, I can operate it, make it make sense. And so we are now, December 31st of 2012 is when we closed. So I send them a check every single month for the last 13 years. And it's just something where, even then with family, right? It is business, but at the same time, that family attachment. So I think you got to be careful when you invest with family. Now on real estate, there's an asset, a tangible asset. I think when you're trying to start a business and you want to borrow money from family versus a traditional bank, it can get dicey, because they're going to judge the way you operate it, what your hours of operate. So I think that's where, if you have good credit and you can, get financing from traditional banks, a lot of times that's going to be your best bet. And even when we invested when Ted invested with us, we were paying a premium. Like when we bought that place on Bondi on hard money, it was 10%. I mean, we could have got rates at 6, maybe 5.5, 6. But it was easier because we didn't have to go through that process. So I think, again, depending on where you're at, but getting started, talking to a mortgage broker, figuring out how much money do you need down. There are still a lot of programs where you don't need a lot of money down to get into something. But I always recommend starting out into a multi-unit so that you have somebody helping pay rent. And it's a great responsibility to manage a place that you own with somebody else paying you rent, paying you utility. It just, it's all good because a lot of people, whether you own investment property or not, are you taking care of household budget items? And I think, again, knowing where the money comes and goes is vitally important. So yeah, getting started, however you can get in the door. And another good way that we didn't do this approach is where a seller who might have a lot of equity in the property, you might be able to get seller financing. And again, it's going to be at a higher interest rate than if you went to a traditional bank, but they might not have the same qualification, needs as a traditional bank will have. So there's good and bad to both. But if somebody's getting started, I'd say that the quote safest bet is to sit down with a good loan officer that's going to be able to tell you some different programs if you find a 2 to 4 unit, because when you go above a 4 unit, it becomes commercial, 5 units and above. So, but you can buy a single family, but I recommend 2, 3, or 4 unit. Getting started.
Multiple streams of income.
Exactly. Yep. And I mean, even on the rental side, when you have a single family rental and that goes vacant, you have zero revenue. Yep. Versus a duplex, if somebody moves out, you at least have one unit paying. So,
and James, in your industry, you really don't need investors per se, do you?
If you're building an agency and you want to spend money on marketing, because there's some agencies that are spending $500 to $1 million a month on marketing. Just to get the name out, just to get their name out. Right. It's insane. Yeah. I mean, so.
But otherwise,
no. Like me as an agent, no. I mean, if I hired a bunch of agents and then I turn myself into an agency and do things that way, maybe I'll say, hey, I need a partner. But outside of that, no.
Laban, what would you say the biggest milestone? Or the first milestone in your business would have been when you started off?
Boy, first milestone? That's interesting. I mean, we opened, and then I guess a milestone. Like I know in the first year we didn't, we opened January of 2008. I think we closed 850,000 in revenue. So then the next year after we closed over $1 million in revenue, I don't know if that's a milestone per se. But it continued to grow. And again, if you only know your revenue, that's only half the battle. But we were, fairly profitable. And then once you start to spread out, and we opened 2 offices in 2012, so 4 years into business, it starts to thin the margins. But as far as milestones, I think a small business that can stay open for 5 years is, more than half the battle. So having been in business now for 18 years, I don't know I don't know as far as milestones we opened a 4th office, but then closed it 5 years later when the market just wasn't there for it. So
how many years were you in it before you became profitable? Like
wow.
Before you said, like when you said, when I say profitable, meaning like paying yourself a salary or what have you.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting you say that because like when we first opened in 2008, my wife at one point says, hey, you're going to have to talk to the family about taking a paycheck because you're not able to sell real estate like they are. You have to run the business and you're not making commissions because you're not out selling. And I would say that was by the end of the first year because we had our daughter in April of 2008 and Meg was a loan officer. So she was making good money then. But as far as starting to become profitable, I remember that it was about year 8.
Wow.
And I don't know. In year 8 is when we were profitable enough to cover company vehicles for the 4 of us. Okay. So you know what I mean? Like, and the thing was, it always makes sense for the company to pay for things that you absolutely have to have for that business. if you have the money to do it, right? That's
Right.
the biggest thing. Like the accountant's going to say, yes, it'd be great if you bought, 6,000 pound vehicles, you can write it off in the first year you buy it. We all have big SUVs. So that makes, a lot of sense if you have the money in the account, you know what I mean? And so it wasn't until year 8 where it's like it made sense for us to be able to spend the money we spend on company vehicles for the 4 owners. And then I also thought about, like, we bought offices. We would spend about $100,000 between down payment and improvements on properties almost every year for a few years there. So in that, I think that was where, even as this market shifted, I was so glad that we took the profits of our earlier years, reinvested it in our industry, which it created rental income for the years we owned them. And then when things got tight and there was no inventory coming to market, my business coach is like, well, don't you own rentals? I'm like, well, yeah, but we own them as, he's like, yeah, but that might be good inventory for the market, especially with price increases. And so we've learned to kind of be able to be nimble and pivot when we see the market shift and opportunities arise, because in that acquisition phase between like 2011, 2014, there were 2 instances where sellers that we were representing said, hey, I can't wait any longer. Like, would you be willing to buy this house from us? We need to get to South Carolina. And it's like, well, okay, I'll reduce my commission, pay you, this, where you're happy with the price. I'm good with the price. I can rent it out. And 2 of our rentals came from sellers that couldn't sell. So I know that market's going to come again where,
oh yeah,
I mean, it's not so much desperate seller, but it's like they just need to sell. And it's like, okay, I realize we don't have showings. I realize you don't want to adjust the price anymore, but like, this is what I could pay as an investor. If you don't want to adjust your price and have more showings and wait for that, I can get it closed in 30 to 45 days. I won't need an inspection, so I make it appealing to a seller. But in the last few years, if you didn't get over asking with 7 offers as a listing agent, you were a failure. So like, I'm not going to say, hey, I'll buy it from you and compete with these 6 other offers. So as the market shift, and it's getting close, because I'm beginning
to. I think it's going to pivot because the interest dropped again.
And I think interest rates have to continue to drop because, like I said, in another episode, like the property that I have under contract that's going to close January 19th, the interest rate right now is 3.86 because I've had it for 5 years. But January, it adjusts to, I think, 2 points over LIBOR. So it's going to go to like 7.5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where this is where you have to be paying attention to your money, to your assets, to your rates, to all of that, so that you're properly leveraging. And is your money going into the right things to help it grow? Because we all know we work hard, and that's your earned income, right? Your earned income is one of those 3 pillars. But what is your portfolio income, whether it's insurance or, stocks, those, and then what is your passive income? And I think passive is one of the more difficult, because rental passive income ain't passive. You better be working it. You better be taking care of your tenants. You better be taking care of your property with maintenance. It's not sit on a beach and now you can pay us as a management company. In fact, we had one of our clients is he's from this area originally, but he's now a property manager out in Las Vegas. But he buys everything in Erie because his money goes so much further. So he was in town, and in fact, one of the rentals that he bought, he doesn't rent it out at all. He uses it when he comes to Erie. So I love real estate because it provides so many different opportunities like that. But I think that's where, James, it gets hard for some people when you try to convince them on either investing or insurance, whatever it is, investing in themselves. They think there's all these other shiny objects that are going to get them there, or a little red pill that's going to make them a millionaire. And at the end of the day, it's numbers. What is your revenue? What are your expenses? I don't care if it's household, personal, business. You got to know it.
Agreed.
Did that answer the questions? Steve?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You answered the question.
What was the milestone? me finishing
You
a
answered the
question.
question. You answered the question. Yes, very, very much so. James, how would you say, the challenges you face during your operations? How do you deal with the day-to-day challenges that you face with selling insurance?
So for me, there are days where I have to pivot. So like I'll have days where, I'm just going to, talk to a couple people for final expense insurance. And that's just final expense insurance is just pure burial insurance.
Right. Correct.
But the thing with some of those clients are they're low income people.
Yes.
And they're older. So like I have somebody who gets me leads, and I had to tell him, I says, listen, I can't pay my bills if you're giving me somebody who's 70 years old and they need insurance because they can't.
It's not going to do enough.
And it's not to sound bougie or anything. They're on a fixed income.
It's not worth the time.
It's not. Because
but does it? And I don't want to interrupt you, but does it make sense for them to have insurance, dude? Like,
it makes sense for them to have insurance, but what it is it's not feasible for me to offer it to them because they can only pay 1 or 2 months. Amount. Well, not even a certain amount. I had somebody default on $33 a month. That's serious, and it's not. I don't make money. Listen, the $33 a month comes up to like, I don't know, $500-600 a year. I get paid off of the yearly income, and again, like I mentioned before, if they default, I have to now pay that back because I get advanced.
$33 a month. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And the woman is like 70, 72, 73 years old, and I'm like, if you can't afford $33, and I understand, I'm not trying to talk down.
No, of course not.
But you shouldn't be shopping. Like, honestly, this is why I tell people to get insured young.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you get to that point, there's nothing you can do.
I'm 56 years old. I've had, and I'm relatively healthy, and I've had 3 incidences with health issues.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, and it's crazy. The other thing people asked is there an update with the Affordable Care Act? Is there any movement on what's going to happen with that? Is there anything that you've learned that would make you want to start selling it again?
No.
And people have asked, when do you think, is that something that will be solved in the next month, 60 days?
I mean, technically Congress is supposed to be voting on that. I think sometime this week or near the end of the month, because when January 1st kicks in, it's going to be different. Now, I have supplemental plans that I can offer. You know, that's not insurance, but it works like insurance. It's actually 40% cheaper than the ACA.
Wow.
In some cases. Yeah.
So it's better than the ACA.
In hindsight, yeah. So one of the plans I have is I forgot, it's Cigna carrier. Cigna's the carrier.
Right.
And it's not ACA, but anybody who has a decent income, who has a business, like I can offer it to their business, and offer it as benefits and stuff like that. I can do that too.
Okay. Yeah, all right. We're going to take a quick break and show the rest of our lovely sponsors. Down south, we also have Julius Williams and the Trench Mob. Julius trains offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5v5 tournaments and college showcase camps across the country. Julius has sent kids to places like Florida, Florida State, Miami, Tennessee, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. If you want to work with the best and you're an offensive or defensive lineman, go to www.battleofthetrenches.com. Julius is located in Decatur, Georgia. However, he will come to you. You can come to them and work with them. You are allowed to go to any tournament they go to, any showcase camp, and he will do everything possible to help you through the recruiting process. We have Nedvonne Young, FreshFold Laundry Company, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, high-end laundry service. They have now been open a full year. They do booking online. You put your clothes out in a clear bag. They come pick it up, wash, dry, fold it for you within 48 hours. They also have an expedited service. They have an online subscription model where you can do your laundry weekly or bi-weekly, same thing. They are now going to be offering a delivery and pickup service so you can have your laundry done without leaving the comfort of your own home. They have deals for college students. So if you are in college, wash your clothes. Believe me, they have everything on their website. It is my-freshfold.com. James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. For the last 3 years, James has dedicated himself to the art of financial planning, financial services. He specializes in insurance policies, mainly life insurance. He will make you a boatload of money, and he will do so tax-free. He understands the stress that goes into retirement planning. How much am I going to need? For how long? Do we have enough? Because fear of the unknown is real. Go to his website, lutherjamesinsurance.com, to get a free consultation. All right, then we are back. Laban, question for you, because you've been open quite a while. Each year, especially, going into the new year, you have a set of agents that work for you. Do you have set goals for each person, or is a company that you set early in the year to try to meet for each agent?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we do have within our compensation package what we call a goal, where as soon as they generate enough revenue that hits goal, their percentage changes quite favorable. And what I would always do, and I did it more when we were in the newspaper, because when we would be in the newspaper, we would charge each agent for whatever, like they'd call it a module if they were doing an open house or something, because we really didn't believe in advertising in the newspaper. This was, the internet was still around, but it's not like it is now, and a lot of sellers felt they needed to be in there. So I would sit down with them on an annual basis and give them their invoice for what they spent on the newspaper, and I would talk to them about goal setting and how many units they wanted to sell or price per unit. And so now, each agent certainly has their own independent goal, but from our perspective as a brokerage, we have a goal so that once an agent hits that, in fact, my controller knows that if it's a commission check going to an agent, that the commission got them to their goal. I usually on the stub portion of their check will just say, hey, congratulations on hitting your goal for the year. And there were some agents that hit that goal in March or April. We tell the story. There was an agent in Corey, Don Johnson, not Miami Vice.
Great name.
Yeah. Oh, solid. And this is a great dude. In fact, his son is now my property manager, Marcus. But Don had a really strong year, and he was having a really strong December. And so he said to me, hey, if I close these out, I'm already at goal. Can I not take these commission checks in December and you just pay me in January? And I said, well, Don, in January, you're going to go to a 50% split until you hit goal. And he's like, well, you know what? I don't even want the 50%. He said, take my closings from December. I want 0 split, and I want it all go towards my goal. And so literally his December revenue covered his goal for the entire year. So when those closed in January, his first closing, he was already at 97% split.
I like that. Yeah.
So, but it's just math. Now his son, and he'd tell the story if he was standing here, he said to me, he's like, man, the only thing I don't like about the structure is that in January we go back and I kind of calculated in my head for 97%. And I said, well, Marcus, the reason we did it that way, I said, when did you hit goal? And he's like, I think August. I said, okay. So from August, September, October, November, December, you should be sticking a couple thousand into a separate bank account so that when January rolls around and you're at a 50% split, you've got that money from the 97% split days to lean on, in your slower times. And so, and we have a bell curve of a market, meaning, January, February, March, a little slower because of weather. Same thing with November, December. But our April, May, June, July, August, sometimes September is fire up. Yeah. So it's the same thing like anything else. When this is what happens in January, then store up for the winter, like the Bible says. You know what I mean? When you're making that 97% split, don't spend it all. Put some of your spending, like Dave would say, into savings or into slower times of years. So, that was from do our agents set goals? Yes, that was the question. I'm sorry, I go off on tangents crazy. But yes, everybody needs to be setting goals. And I don't know if your goal is 5 interceptions. And I'll tell this story before we finish up, because somebody recently was talking about pull-ups and determining how much of a man you are or whatever. But I will quickly go off on a tangent. For my 7-year-old daughter was in this hanging competition with boys and girls, and she hung onto the bar longer than anybody else. She was the last to jump off. But I remember going into UConn, and one of the tests that we all did, one of the first days you get there, is a pull-up test.
Absolutely.
And I went in there with a number in my head that I thought was crazy, but apparently not crazy enough. And I wanted to do 50 pull-ups, right? So I start banging them out. I get to 51 pull-ups, and for the life of me, could not get to 52. Like, it didn't matter. Like, how the only reason I was in your head. In my mind, I wanted 50. And as soon as I got it, my body shut down. So set goals higher. Set your goals higher, dude. Set your goals higher. And then what I realized once I got, dude, I didn't know my body and mind could go places that college football.
You never know how capable you are. It's amazing.
And still, I would argue there was one more level. Like, there's one more you could have.
There's always one
more notch, dude. And if you don't live like that, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Agreed.
What about you?
Just crazy.
Setting goals. Do you go into each year and try to set goals for clients, for revenue, anything like that?
Me?
Yeah.
So
do you sit down and try to formulate something to put together?
So this year was an anomaly year for me.
Right.
But I normally, because November and December is my slowest periods.
Right.
I try to make all my bank in 10 months.
Right.
I like it.
Right.
But you know what? My father would always say the same thing, right? Yeah. Plan on revenue for 10 months, but expenses for 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I try to make all my bank in 10 months. If I do get business, I've gotten business this November, even though it was a little janky.
Yeah.
But not to say I don't expect to do anything in December. I've done some stuff in December, but my thing is, and I said to myself, if I don't make $300,000 a month, and this is for next year, if I don't do $300,000 a month on a consistent basis, then my goal is really 200.
And how many clients would you say it would take to get to that? How many leads would you need?
So I would say like maybe 5 to 10 clients a week.
If you were to get 5 to 10 good clients per week,
good clients who are buying,
you're saying that signed with you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And they're buying premium product, not final expense. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually, I don't want to say it's easy, but when you look at the numbers, it's a grind. I mean, it's a grind. It's a grind. But if you get the referrals, like you said, then it can be a lot easier. It could be.
If you get referrals consistently and you work with enough people and do enough things, like I mentioned to you, we hit Laban. I started my own YouTube channel without Dave, and I'm up to over 20,000 viewers, which was the magic number. So I can now advertise on YouTube TV.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's great.
I can so we can run ads on YouTube TV. So I'm telling everyone, I can do it for a week and get on primetime TV, and do it for really $25 to $30 a day, and either split it up or do it 4 days a week, 5 days a week. But being able to advertise on YouTube TV is huge. It's a huge platform. Yeah. So being able to hit that number is great.
That's awesome.
No, it is. But what I wanted to mention was we had some feedback because I post both of your podcasts in a number of Facebook groups, and they've been very successful for generating viewership.
Oh, nice.
I mean, we've had 50,000 to 70,000 viewers for some shows. So I was going to say to Laban and James, if you're able to start a Marsha Marsh Facebook group, do that, because I think you'll get people that'll join, and then I can post the podcast in the group. Because I posted it in other like Erie. There's an Erie real estate group.
Yeah.
Podcast in.
Oh, they're going to hate you.
And it does very well.
They want no part of me. No, I'm just.
No, I think it does well. Maybe they hate you, but they haven't picked it out yet.
Well, that's good. I know there's a couple local guys that
there are
podcasts and things, and there's a couple investment groups and things like that. So I think, listen, if you're worth your salt, you're willing to listen to anybody. And then take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? So I don't. There's obviously plenty of room for everybody, but we're definitely the best.
But they base it off of the viewership. So when they see 70,000 viewers, 50,000 viewers, anything over 20,000 viewers. Well, that's where they'll watch you. They'll watch you, and then they'll especially watch the shorts and reels that I make off of it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, great. I love it.
James has made some. James's reels are always fantastic.
Speaking of which, I need the actual reels because I was trying to post some stuff up.
So I have to actually send them to you. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So if I tag you, you can't post them.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. So we'll just do like a Google.
Yeah, I'll email them to you. Okay. Because James's reels do amazing on TikTok and Instagram, and so do yours.
Well, I don't quiet myself down enough for it to be cut to.
Well, I have a program. I have a program that makes them. So it's like, compile all the best viral moments, compile all the best insights, analysis.
Bro, AI does that for you?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you, go on my Instagram. And look at the reels and tell me what you think.
Yeah. I watch them, dude. I watch them. Yeah. I just didn't know it was cut by AI, dude.
Oh yeah. I don't cut them. Yeah. I can't cut them. No. Dave made an AI software reel program that's very good. Man. That we're working on trying to get out. And he also made like a recruiting software that he wants to try to sell to colleges. We're working on that as well. But yeah, it's all been good. But you guys did great. Thank you for answering the questions from our viewers. And I did better. I split up the ads so they're not all at once, so everyone doesn't hate me.
Dude, you're always improving, bro. Always improving.
I want to shout out my New York Knicks last night for winning the NBA Cup.
Yes, that was a big deal, man.
What is the NBA Cup? Yeah, because nobody wants to watch it otherwise, bro.
But you know what, Laban? It looked like Game 7. Both teams. It wasn't like the All-Star game. It wasn't like the All-Star game.
Huge.
It looked like
it's created some competitive. Well, listen, and I think how sad is that?
It is.
That we got to create false mids for them to play hard.
Because these guys make too much money.
I know. What I mean? And they can still sit out half the season. And so when you get your ticket to go watch them in Cleveland, my man's sitting out, dude. No, give me back the 80s and 90s of NBA, and then we can talk.
Well, and I believe, James, aren't they? I think they're adding a winter tournament as well.
I certainly hope so. Yeah.
So listen,
the fall tournament was so successful.
But before we go, I do have to give a shout out to a Erie local in Yukon. Had a great win last night against Butler. And there's a kid on Butler's team, number 7, Jamie Kaiser Jr. Jamie and his wife are from Erie. This guy, he's been a stud since high school, watching, Facebook and everything. I don't know where he went first, but he's now at Butler. And so for our first Big East game, to have that win last night was pretty good. But, bro, Kaiser Jr. was covering ball. It's like, bro, no thank you. But to say that you covered solo ball, now Kaiser Jr. could be in the NBA someday himself. But it was pretty cool to watch, our Yukon Huskies with a kid that I went, I knew from high school days, and his son is now playing against Yukon for Butler.
Yeah,
so shout out to Jamie and his wife for raising a strong young man to be playing at Butler. That was pretty cool. So
yeah, absolutely. But James, we'll do 11 tomorrow. I'll send you the invite, and
let me double check my calendar. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
11 o'clock tomorrow.
If you want to do 11, or if there's another
next
time.
Week is Christmas Eve,
bro. I know it's crazy. Well, that's what I say. We go to Albany this weekend.
We'll do it a different day if we have to.
No. We're good. We're good. I'm good tomorrow. I have nothing in my calendar.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah, I was just looking. I'm like flabbergasted at how fast time is flying.
Oh, bro, it's crazy. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. It is crazy. But great job, great show.
Good stuff. Hey, hopefully I'll see you this weekend, brother. I'll definitely touch base.
Let me know.
And would love to grab a coffee or something.
You're leaving Friday, right?
Yeah, we're leaving Friday morning, and then I think we either come back Sunday, maybe Monday. I don't know. I know we missed Drew's game on Friday against Franklin.
Okay.
But we get to go see the family. I don't know if I've been up there yet. Well, I guess I was up there in May for some hoops, but
when do you want to have your conversation with me?
Soon.
Just put it in the freaking calendar.
So I have a buyer consultation tonight. I could maybe do it later, 7:30 or something tonight. That's going to tie me down.
All right, good. Call him tonight. If he doesn't answer, I'll shoot him. Yeah.
All right.
And sweet. James, I think I gave you my friend from Maryland, the guy in the military.
I think so.
Jamal.
I think so.
You can call him. He's good to go. So make sure you give him a call. And I know you called Razul on Saturday. He said he was with family.
He was at his wrestling thing with his son.
Yeah, you can call Razul back.
Okay.
And he's definitely interested, especially with his business and everything.
Okay.
And then I have his partner. I think I gave you as well.
Okay.
So, all right, but I'll send you the link for tomorrow. We'll be good to go. And for Laban, James, I'm Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.
There you go.
All right, great job.